Fabulous. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. With my lighting and my setup, I'm getting there. Good evening. I feel like. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let me just make sure that this is on. Okay, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another live stream session with me here at the People's Brand. This evening, I want to speak on a topic that I personally have seen that is so rampant, right? With so many leaders, with so many people. And so this evening, we are going to be speaking about the approval trap. And hopefully, at the end of this session, it will help you to break free from the approval trap. All right. And so, if you don't know who I am, my name is Waveney. I am a leadership mindset coach. Oh, I'm looking at my lighting. I'm a leadership mindset coach, and I help new managers develop leadership influence by mastering their relationships at work, developing their communication skills, and I am helping you with your mindset as well. Because in order to be an effective leader, in order to be an effective uh, in your role, you have to work on your mindset. And last evening, if you didn't get the opportunity to to look at the live stream, I would encourage you to go and do so, because last night I spoke a little bit about what's new at the People's Brand, why I was, you know, educating myself and adding mindset to this work that I'm doing. Because I don't think, like I said, I don't think that you can be effective if you have the right mindset. Not I don't think, I know that you can't be. And so I am here to help support you with that. So this week I will be touching on a variety of topics, and hopefully there's something there for you, right? Everything I say, it's not going to be for you, but hopefully you can take something away and work with that. No, it's funny because the other day I was speaking to some people, and this person was like, you know what, I really enjoy that reel that you did, and they gave me a compliment on it, and I was like, thank you. And then this other person said, yeah, sometimes I think that you're talking about me. And I'm like, no, I am not talking about you specifically. But what we don't tend to realize is that many leaders share the same concerns, share the same problems, share the same joys, share the same fears, share the same hopes. We tend to think that we are separate from each other. Like, this person is over here and that person is over there, and we're just in this world kind of by ourselves, when in reality we have a lot in common. You know we have more in common than we have differences. And so if you ever feel like, hey, I think she might be talking about me, that's great. And the reason why that's great is because you are now aware. And the reason why it's great is because then I'm making a difference, right? I'm making a difference for you. Remember, I've been in this, I've been in leadership since what, 18 years? 18 years. I shared it last night. I've been in leadership role for 18 years now. I've been in human resources about the same time, 18 years. And so I wouldn't say I've seen it all, but I've had lots of experiences personally, and also witnessed persons going through certain things. And so I'm here to support you and help you so you don't make that mistake, because I don't believe that every learning has to be with a mistake, right? We can learn from the experiences of others. And so I really hope that this session helps you. So let's get into it. And so this evening, I'm talking about the approval trap. And so let me ask you just two sort of questions and sort of lead into what I'm talking to you about. So how can you tell if you seek approval, right? Or, as I said, the need to be liked. You're probably the leader who does not confront the behavior of an employee or someone who is probably the loudest on your team, or this person is more outspoken, or this person has been in the company for a very long time. You are that person. You don't want to confront that behavior, whether you lead the person or the person is your peer. If there's conflict involved, that's not going to be you. That's not going to be you. And so you're not doing this because you don't want people to be mad at you. You don't want, it gives you a high degree of anxiety to confront or to address, because confront sounds very aggressive, to address certain situations. So you can probably tell that you're seeking approval if you fall into this category. You can also tell that you're seeking approval because if you're the person who agrees, maybe you're in a team setting with your peers and maybe something is going on and you all agree that, hey, we need to speak to our leader about a particular situation, and everybody is in agreement, right? But then when the time comes for you to address it, you're absent. You either have a meeting, you either have something to do conveniently, or you just sit there and you don't say anything, or if you do say something, you sort of switch on the opposite side, right? You might be doing that. So last minute, you supposedly change your mind. You're that person. And so you can also tell that you're seeking approval or people pleasing or having that need to be liked if you're that employee. You fail, or leader, you fail to enforce boundaries. You fail to have boundaries. Like, and I'll give you an example. You cancel plans with friends or family if something comes up at work, and it's done on a consistent basis, right? Because you are uncomfortable saying no. You don't want persons to be mad at you. And so if you fall into any of these three categories, you are probably in the approval trap. You've fallen into the approval trap. And I am not here to judge anybody. That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here to do is to sort of bring awareness and to give you some tools, some ideas that can help you work through this. But in order for us to address anything in our lives that's not working, in order for us to initiate change, we sort of have to understand where these types of mindset, the approval mindset, the need to be liked, right? The need that when we have to approach conflict, there is a high degree of an anxiety. Our body is resisting. It's almost as if we are making ourselves our body is reacting in such a way that it is so uncomfortable that we don't want to do that. And so what we do is we I would say we tend to display what I call a trauma response. So last night I touched a bit on, when I spoke about bringing yourself best self to work, I spoke about the best state to be in. And I spoke about, one of the states I spoke about is the sympathetic, one of the states I spoke about is being our nervous system reacting to distressing news, right? And I'll let you go back because I don't want to rehash it. And I spoke about our sympathetic nervous system really kicking in, and this is our nervous system that kicks in when we are in a stressful sort of situation. This kicks in when we hear news that's shocking and that sort of thing. This is the state that we're in when we have to address anything that is deemed as conflict. And so what happens when we are, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in, is that our body goes through particular responses, but also our trauma responses show up. And so there are, and you can Google these, 4 different types of trauma responses. One of them is called the fawn response. And I want to bring this to the forefront for you because I need for you to understand how this is linked to the approval trap. So for those of you who have fallen into the approval trap, you really don't like to address situations in your leadership role. And if you are, changing your mind the last minute, you're saying yes when you want to say no, you are acting in that sort of fawn response. So I'll read for you about fawn responses. So the 4 different types of trauma responses is you're either acting in one of these: flight, fright, freeze, or fawn. And so the person who fawns, they act in a way to appease others. They act in a way to appease others because they find safety through connection. You're the person who people please. You might be the person that you don't really have any boundaries. You find it hard to say no. You avoid conflict. And you may be codependent. Now, at some point or another, some of us would avoid conflict. But if you are in a fawn response, right? If you are a people pleaser, you know that you are a people pleaser, right? Because you are not being true to yourself. When you are in the approval trap, you are not being true to yourself. You say yes when you want to say no. You don't want to deal with conflict. And this isn't the type of, well, you know what, for this particular situation, I won't address this right now. I am talking about you're leading a team and there are things coming up, people are coming to you, and because this person maybe have been in the team for a very long time, maybe they've been at the company for a very long time, or you just don't want to, and this is really the underlying thing, you don't want to be the bad guy. You do not want to be the bad guy, and this is a trend and a pattern with you. Then you've fallen into the approval trap, and you are basically displaying the fawn symptom. And so this is important for you to know. Okay, so, and again, I think it's important to highlight that you are doing this because you want to find safety. The way that you've learned to find safety, to feel safe, is through connection. All right. Now, if this is you, Here's what I want to tell you before I get to where I want to share the resources that will help you. If you are here, the fact that you're listening to the People's Brand, you are in a leadership role, I have always spoken about, you know, a leadership role is an important role because, again, I believe that you don't have to be famous, you don't have to be infamous, you don't have to be a celebrity, you don't have to be popular to make a difference. Leaders make a difference, right? I I mean, leadership is, to me, it's like being an educator, like being a teacher. You teachers get to mold lives. That is why I don't understand how people can teach and not like teaching. Like, how could you show up to work and you're teaching people's children and you don't like it? Like, how does that work, right? I feel like and these are just my opinions, right? I feel like if you have uh, any type of work that deals with people, uh, managing people, anything interacting with people, you must like people. Even though at the end of the day, people can be challenging, but there are more good people out there than people who are challenging. I believe. Maybe I am naive, but this is my mindset, right? And so I feel like, as a leader, as someone who is in a leadership role, you're here to impact the world. You are here to impact the world. I feel like you were given that promotion, you were given that position, um, to really make a difference, not just to make a lot of money, right? And so, if you want to really impact the world, if you really want to change people's lives, then this means that you will disrupt comfort because you have to give people feedback, right? You have to. Let me check something. Okay. You have to give people feedback. It's not fair that persons are under your charge, you have direct reports, and you're not giving them feedback. Whether the feedback is great, you're complimenting them, you're giving them recognition, and also when they are doing things that, constructive criticism that they need to get better. You wouldn't like to be doing something all the time and no one has said anything to you that you're doing it wrong, because at the end of the day you'll feel like a fool. And so, if you are here to impact the world, you have to disrupt comfort. You have to disrupt comfort. If you want to leave a legacy, like I want to leave a legacy, right? I could very well keep all this knowledge to myself. I could have very well said, you know what, I'm just going to stick to my 9 to 5. I'm just going to do HR. I'm just going to do that. But I have a passion for helping people. And I know that there are some people that they need help, that they don't have someone to really bounce ideas off of. They don't have someone to really support them. Many people get into management positions and they have no clue. They don't have the right support. They're not in the right environment. And it's not that they're bad people. They want to do the best job possible. And some people think that they're doing the best job possible, but there is room for improvement. And so this is, me showing up in the People's Brand. That's something that I am passionate about, like building people up, developing people, empowering people, sharing with others. So I could have very well said, you know what, this is too much work, right? Even starting the People's Brand and, having to learn to come on live stream, having anxiety about that, yes, but I show up anyway because I show up for you. Somebody out there is listening to me and they need to hear this, right? And they need to hear it from somebody they trust. And so if you want to leave a legacy, like I want to leave a legacy, you want to do meaningful work in the world, right? You want to have creativity and innovation, then you have to disrupt what has always been done. And so if you want to disrupt what has always been done, you want to leave a legacy, you want to really impact people's lives, you're gonna have to get out of the approval trap. You can't be worried about what people think of you, right? And I know it's easier said than done. You can't be worried about people liking you. There was a quote that I saw, and I see it floating around the internet, and I forgot to start to look it up so I can quote it correctly. But it says something like this: if you want to be liked, then go drive an ice cream truck, right? Go drive an ice cream truck. Everybody's not going to like you. You're going to have to deal with situations that are uncomfortable. But if you are uncomfortable, it probably means that you're growing. And so, if you want to develop as a person and you want to be seen as authentic and having integrity, then you're gonna have to get out of the approval trap. Because here's the thing: when you think that you are avoiding conflict, you think that you are playing it safe, and that nobody recognizes that it is uncomfortable for you to make a decision or be the bad guy or disrupt or give that feedback. And you're right, people don't know it's uncomfortable for you and how uncomfortable it is for you. But here's what they know: they know that you're fake, they know that you're inauthentic, and they know that you don't have any integrity. Our bodies cannot lie. Our bodies cannot lie. And I believe in energy, but if you don't believe in energy and you think that I'm woo woo, just think about how we communicate. How we communicate, the model says 7% is words. 50 is it 55%, but a large percentage of it is body language. And so that is what people is picking up. So whenever you are in your people pleasing mode, whenever you are saying yes and you want to say no, whenever you are not addressing that situation on your team, people over a period of time, they have picked up that, hey, there's something about this person that is a little bit off. I don't know. There's something that's strange about them. There's something that's weird about them. And the longer that they work with you, they will realize that you have no backbone. You're inauthentic. You are inauthentic. That is how you're showing up. You think that you're being nice and everybody, like, you're being inauthentic. You're being inauthentic. And I really wanted to come on here tonight and talk about this because I want you to understand that you're not doing anybody, especially yourself, any good by being this way. And the way that we change is through awareness. This is why I want to focus on mindset. This is why I am your leadership mindset coach and not just a leadership coach. I am your leadership mindset coach because I want to help you to change that mindset. And these responses, these trauma responses, people think that trauma has to be this big thing that happened, like maybe somebody was in a horrible accident, or they had this particular abusive situation happen to them. It doesn't work that way with trauma, right? Trauma is just how it is, very subjective, and it is how someone reacts to that negative situation, and they're reacting that way because it's too overwhelming for them and they don't know how to cope with it. And that is really trauma. And so if you are a people pleaser, if you have identified while I'm speaking with, like, being in this approval trap, I'm here to get you out. I'm here to get you out. It's not going to be easy because it's a habit. It's something that you've practiced for a very long time. It's something that has kept you safe because our bodies are so incredible, right? They keep us safe. They keep us safe. But if they're designed to keep us safe. And even though you might say, well, this isn't a real threat, you're right. It isn't a life and death a threat, but that is not how our brains interpret it. It is threatening to us, right? Certain situations are threatening to us. The key is understanding it and overcoming that mindset. And so you don't want people not having confidence in you, and that is what happens when you're in the approval trap. Because how can I really trust you? How can I really have confidence in you? How can I have the confidence if you're my leader and you're a people pleaser and you're wishy-washy? 1 minute you're saying no, 1 minute you're saying yes. I'm coming to you as your direct report. I'm saying, hey, I'm having an issue with this person. You are failing to address it. You might be telling me, yes, it's going to be okay, I'll address it. And you're not doing that. How am I to have confidence in you? How? I won't have confidence in you. And then even on the flip side, if you report to me as, as a leader, you're a manager and you report to me, I will have no confidence in you. I for sure will have no confidence in you, right? Because I cannot trust what you're saying. Your words and actions are not in alignment. And I really want you to see how serious this is. It is not just dodging responsibility. It is not just dodging and playing it safe. This has impact on your career and yourself, because after a while, who are you? Who are you anyway? You don't even, nobody really knows what you think, right? Nobody really knows. If I ask you your opinion, is that really your opinion? Or is it something that you think that I want to hear? And that's the other thing. Under poor leadership, you will flourish. So you might be, looking at this and thinking within yourself, hey, this sounds like me, but hey, I'm fine. If you get, that means you have a poor leader, right? You may have a poor leader, or you may not have been, people may not have found you out yet. But under poor leadership, you will flourish. You will do fine, because poor leaders like yes people. Yes, no, yes, yes. Leaders who like people, who agree with them, poor leaders, right? But under great leadership, you will fail. Under great leadership, in a great environment, in an environment that drives high accountability, you will fail, because you will not do what you're supposed to do. You will people please, and you can't people please your way to greatness. Okay, you can't people please your way to success. I'm gonna write that down. I think that's good. Sometimes when I'm writing my notes, right, I write them very in a bullet point sort of way, and then when I get on here, I get even more inspired. Like, things come to mind, and this one was one of it. And so you will fail, right? Your character, influential leadership courage is a muscle. It is a muscle, and I am telling you because I've had to do hard things. Remember, I told you that my background is in HR, and in HR, you have to have difficult conversations, uncomfortable conversations with people. You have to have conversations with people that, like, difficult conversations with people that you've known for a very long time, people that you consider friends, people that who are close to you. And it is a muscle. It is the uncomfortableness of it will not go away, right? In that those, if somebody, you're dealing with a human, right? So you'll have that level, you'll have that bit of discomfort, but it won't be to the point where you are resisting, that you're running away from your responsibility. So courage is a muscle, and the more you take courageous decisions, that is, that you do the thing that you think that you cannot do. And it's a quote by someone. You must do, let me just check and make sure I don't have any comments here. Okay. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do, right? The more you do that, the more comfortable you will get. And so I really want to encourage you, if you're in the approval trap, please, if you're listening to this and you see yourself, the examples that I've given, they've resonated with you, then I'm going to invite you to really take a look and change. And so let me share with you how you can change. Let me share with you. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it can happen. It can happen. The first thing you want to do is you want to get honest with yourself. So if you've listened to this live stream, or even if you're listening to this live stream and you have a friend and you can spot that, right? Because people pleasing, you can spot that. No boundaries, saying yes when you rather say no. You could, if you've been around a person a lot, you can spot that, and you can also see those things in yourself if you're honest. So get honest with yourself. Get honest with yourself. And if you're listening to this and you're like, gee, I never really thought of it. Do I have people pleasing tendencies? Am I in the approval trap? Then the next thing to do is just seek awareness. Now, some of you may not want to ask for feedback to people close to you. So what you can do is you can really reflect on how you've managed, say, the last three. Let's say the last three difficult situations, the last three situations that would have, how should I say this? The last three situations that were maybe conflict heavy, right? How did you manage those? How did you manage those? Now, if you don't have anything to draw on, then you want to sort of take a look. Take a look, maybe in the next upcoming weeks, take a look at how you manage situations. Take a look at your boundaries. Do you have any boundaries, right? Take a look at that. And it can be at work and it can be personal, because our personal lives always tend to spill over in our professional lives. We're not two different people. And so get honest with yourself. Seek awareness, look at how you manage difficult situations, then you want to come up with a plan. Because remember, I've said to you that fawn responses are trauma responses. And so I am not going to say to you, this isn't real, get over yourself, I am not saying that, right? What I'm saying is, because this is a trauma response for you, when you are confronted with these situations, it is bringing a level of anxiety to your body. And so what you now have to do is to train yourself to understand that these situations are not as life-threatening or as not as threatening as your brain has perceived them to be. You're working with your mindset. You're working with your mindset. And because you've done this pattern over and over and over, it's ingrained in you. And so now we have to install a new way of being, right? And so you want to come up with a plan. You want to come up with a plan. And you want to think about, what are those situations that trigger you to respond that way? What are those situations? When do you respond that way? What particular situations make you respond that way? I will give you an example from my personal life. I recognize I had to give feedback to some people, and this was a few years ago. All right. I had to give feedback to two senior leaders, and I was new in my role as director of HR, right? And I remember I had these meetings scheduled, and no, it wasn't a meeting. It was really just, one was a meeting, and one I was just gonna say, hey, this is such and such, whatever. And I remember thinking, I was thinking about how I was going to say what I wanted to say. And I remember feeling very anxious. I remember starting to feel very fearful. And I didn't know why. It was making me very, very uncomfortable, but I knew I had to do what I had to do. So, of course, I did what I had to do. And both situations, it was sort of heated. And when I reflected on it, I remember feeling a particular type of way. And in that interaction, when I was thinking about it, I thought about the tone of voice. First of all, it was two males, right? It was two males. And for many of you, and I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that I have walked the path that you're on, right? It was two males, and it was very uncomfortable. And when I was reflecting on it, I was thinking about what is it? Why am I feeling like this, right? Because I'm a white person. I want to know why. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why am I feeling that way? Why did I say that? This is me. And I remember thinking about the fact that their tone of voice, how they spoke to me. And it reminded me of a time in my life when I was spoken to in that manner, and it brought about that kind of anxiety, and I didn't want to go through that situation. And in that time in my life, I was in let's say, a weaker position, and I was like, okay, this is why I feel that way. Why am I sharing this? I am sharing all this with you because you need to understand how you are triggered. What particular types of situations trigger this? No, I mentioned this last night and I want to mention it again. When people throw emotional intelligence around, like, yeah, you need to have emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is really about understanding yourself. It's not about the other people. Yes, the definition is like, yeah, understand your impact on other people, but I am telling you, emotional intelligence is all about understanding you. Because as a leader, when you understand you understand what triggers you, you understand the situations, the emotions that come from it, you are better able to manage yourself. And by extension, you're better able to manage the interactions with your people, right? You will remove yourself when you can from situations that do not, that are escalating, I should say, not running from situations. You will find ways in which to cope. You will find ways in which to address situations. You will understand. When you understand why things are happening, you can better create plans to deal with it. All right? And so come up with a plan. What situations trigger you? How do you respond to those things, and why? And I will tell you, most of the times when these things happen, it stems from childhood. It stems from our childhood. Remember I said that fawn responses, that people find safety through connections. And so you need to figure out the why of it. Don't press yourself too much. It'll probably come to you. The next thing you want to do is craft a new identity. And what do I mean by this? If you just try to change, if you do steps 1, 2, and 3, and then you're like, you know what? I understand. I'm honest with myself. This is how I act. I am in the approval trap. I do people please. I do need to be liked. I don't like conflict. And so I say yes when I should be saying no, so forth and so on. And I know why I behave like this. And you're like, the next time it happens, I'm going to be different because I'm fine. If you leave it like that, that's not what's going to happen. Your body's smarter than you are. Your body's smarter than you are, right? And the next time it happens, even though you may be aware of it, you're going to react the same way. So you need to craft a new identity. You need to understand the type of leader that you want to be. You have to change on an identity level. If you're here and you're listening to me, that means you want to be an influential leader. It means that you want to leave a legacy. It means that connection is important to you. It means that you want to work on your relationships. First, most important relationship is the one with yourself and then with others. And it means that you want to make a difference in the world. And from that point, what are the correct characteristics of an influential leader? What are what does that person do? How does an influential leader manage and deal with situations such as these? How do influential leaders set boundaries? What does that look like? And so you want to craft yourself a new identity, and you want to really understand the identity of an influential leader and what they do when it comes to conflict situations. Okay? How does an influential leader operate? Then from there, you have your plan. You have your plan. Because you have done all the steps. You're honest, you understand why you're more self-aware, you understand why you're triggered, you understand which situations trigger you, and so now you understand that, hey, I don't want to be an unsure manager. I don't want to be I don't want to be in an approval trap. I have better things to do with my life. God has given me this position. I want to make an impact. I want to leave a legacy. I want to be proud of myself. I am tired of just not having an identity. And so, because the more you people please, the more you strip your identity away. People don't know who you are, and I don't think that you want to do that. And so you want to tap into the identity of an influential leader. You want to do that. And so what you can even do is, if there is a leader that you admire, speak to them. How do you deal with these types of situations, right? And so from there, you want to execute. When situations come up, you want to prepare for them. Now, granted, you can't prepare for all situations, but when you want to say, you're tempted to say, and it will start with something simple. Your friends want to go out, or the group at work want to go out, and you know you don't want to go, and you will be tempted to say, yes, okay, I'll go. And even if you do say yes, for example, then because you've been doing this work, your brain will remind you, you will be reminded of the commitment that you made to yourself. Then you want to go back and say, hey, I thought about it, I can't make it, I really don't want to go. That is how you make baby steps. And that's just a minor example, because situations will come up and you will be tempted, even if you did give an answer that you didn't want to, or you didn't deal with the situation in the moment. From the minute that you are aware that you are not keeping that commitment to yourself, you need to go back and course correct. That is how you're going to get stronger. And the more you do that, the more proud you will feel of yourself, and the stronger you will become. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not like I give you a magic pill. Sorry if you were looking for that. It's not that you get a magic pill and voila, you're out of the people pleasing trap. It doesn't work like that. I made a post last night, and it is the absolute truth. The work is you. The work is you. The work is you. Okay, so you execute, and then you want to reflect. Every time that you have a situation, you want to ask yourself the powerful question, what could I have done differently? And you rinse and repeat. And you repeat, you rinse and repeat, and that is how you get better, and that is how you get out of the approval trap. All right, now I know I've said a mouthful. I've been on here for about 45 minutes, but I feel like this topic is very important, that somebody out there is going to get benefit from it. And so I want to invite you to listen to this as many times as you need to, share it out with a work bestie, and you know, if you need more support, you can work with me with Inside the People's Brand. I have a coaching program. It's called Communicate to Influence. We can work together for 90 days. Or if you just need some, you can't make that 90-day commitment, I do have a mindset mapping coaching session. I will link it down below so that you can check it out, and I can help support you on your journey to being an influential leader. So thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. I will see you tomorrow evening, and we will touch on another topic. Until then, let me know, send me your DM before we go. Send me your DMs. Let me know if you found this to be helpful. Thank you for those of you who joined, who viewed this. I know this is more than a live stream, right? This was like a master class in this. Let me know what topics as well. I'm on here. I'm doing live streams like every month for a week. So let me know the topics that you'd like to see more of, and let me know if you enjoy this topic, especially touching on the trauma response and so forth. So thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.